Hello, everyone. Soren here, the author of the Master Key Vocal System. How are you all doing today? Say hi to each other in the little chat box in the YouTube, and yeah, let us hear where you're from, and let's have an amazing webinar. So we will have a lot more webinars in the future. So please think about subscribing to our YouTube channel and join our subscription list on our website. We promise not to spam you with crazy emails all the time, and we will keep it down to a minimum of maybe 2 emails a month as a maximum. No spam will ever happen. We will only provide you with very important information, as when there's a new amazing webinar for you guys or something groundbreaking otherwise. So I'm happy that you joined in at our second live stream webinar. It's already number 2, huh? Hope you're enjoying it so far. Please consider sticking around to the very end of this webinar, because at the end I will give away a very unique discount for student licenses. So if you might want to join the Master Key Vocal System and become a professional voice user, then grab your chance while it's here. The discount will give you 10% off the MKVS student license. And the discount code will be valid for a full month for you to decide if you want to use it or not. After that, this code will not work anymore. This code will not work for teachers. However, if you have a few, we still have a few spots at our 50% discount at our website. So if you are dreaming of becoming a new teacher at the MKVS, then 50% off is still available for a few spots. So let's hear where you're all from. Hey, Joshua is from the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Awesome. Okay, guys and girls. This time I have the pleasure to share this live stream with the amazingly talented Lachlan Torres from Utah. She's the singer in a metal band named Seeking Tragedy, where she both does clean singing and extreme vocals such as growls and creepy screams. Lachlan is a licensed MKVS student, and I'm crazy proud to have her here with us at this live stream. So let's get her on board in this live stream, and let's have a little look into one of their latest music videos, where you can hear Lachlan sing, and later on you'll hear her sing live for all of you. So we'll get back to you in a second, right after this little clip.
Life will last.
who you are.
Nope. I think you covered it. I'm Lachlan from Seeking Tragedy.
Amazing, amazing. And we're so happy that you even wanted to sing for all of us. I'm personally super excited to hear it, which I think the rest of the viewers are as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to sing for all of you.
Yay! That's amazing. Could you maybe tell us a little about your journey as a singer, where you started and how you ended up at the MKVS?
Yeah, so I didn't start singing until after I graduated from college, so I'm kind of like a late bloomer in that sense. It's just something I decided to do since once I no longer had college, I all of a sudden had like time and money on my hands. So that was a nice change, and I thought I'd do something that I'd always wanted to do. I'd always wanted to be able to sing, but I wasn't like I wouldn't consider myself like a natural born singer, so I decided to pursue lessons. And I just kind of did it for the fun of it. I never expected it to go anywhere. But then I just kind of switched around to different singing teachers, and I realized I wasn't like too bad at it. So I started doing the whole band thing. But I also wanted to scream, and that's how I first found you.
Yeah.
Because like not a lot of teachers out there taught screaming as well as singing. So yeah, that's what brought me to you. And I feel like that's when I started making the most improvement.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so Lachlan, she found me first at the RMS Vocal Institute platform, where we only specialize in these extreme vocals, but also go a little bit into clean singing as well. And yeah, like suddenly I asked Lachlan if she wanted to try out a new method that I was working on, and yeah, I was so lucky that she actually wanted to. So one of the first questions that I actually never asked you was that, why did you trust me with this new method and your voice?
I mean, it wasn't. I already liked you as a teacher, so I knew you were like a pretty cool dude and a good teacher. And so when you said that you could teach me even more and like go even deeper into just not just screaming but singing and the whole pack of what goes into vocals, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm game.
Amazing. But it could have been totally wrong.
True. You could have led me astray, but I trusted you. You had already taught me some good stuff, so I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's got to have some good knowledge to it.
Amazing. But yeah, it was actually something that I of course worked on for quite some time before that, but still, it could have been something that just didn't work for you, of course, and we could, of course, have went back, but I'm still super happy that you trusted me with your voice and something totally new like that. So thank you so much for that, Lachlan.
Yeah, I was excited to be a part of it.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. So what made this method so different from other methods that you have tried previously, in your opinion, without sharing too much, of course?
Of course. I feel like what the biggest difference was, like, because I had seen, I think, 3 or 4 different teachers before I went to you, and they were great, and I learned some good stuff from them, but it was just kind of the basics. And also each lesson with them, I just kind of felt like I just did some warm-ups and I didn't make a lot of progress. It was like practicing an instrument without learning anything new about the instrument,
Yeah.
So I just got a little better at the base level of singing. But with this, I feel like I actually started learning the mechanics of singing, which helped me actually really improve and not just do warm-up after warm-up, but actually know what I'm doing and what I need to be doing so that I can be good in all areas of singing.
Oh, that makes me happy to hear. Awesome. Anything else that you could think about that made it so vastly different? Well,
I feel like one thing that does make it a lot different is that with other singing methods, like I said, it's about doing exercises or warm-ups just with your voice, and they just talk about the sound you need to make and that kind of thing. This one, I feel like you cover what it feels like and what's actually going on in your body. And I feel like that makes a big difference, because normally it just feels like when you sing, you're just kind of like blindly throwing a dart at the board. But with this, like, you know what you're aiming for. You know what it should feel like. And so you know the mechanics that are going on. It's no longer guesswork. it feels
Yeah.
a lot more sure.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that it's very important to have this somatic or sensation combined with what's happening, so they our students both get a visual of where these things approximately should be felt, and also, yeah, a little bit into the mechanics as well, of course. um, so how did you feel about the learning curve of the method? Did you feel that it was quite easy to learn and use, or was it something that took, okay, this is like a month of trying to understand it, and then slowly you can start using it, or what was the learning curve in your opinion?
Okay. I don't feel like it was too bad. There were some times where you'd say things in the lessons and I'd be like, what is he talking about? But then
Yes.
it didn't take long for me to mull it over in my brain and be like,
Yeah.
oh, now I get what he's saying. So there was a
Yeah,
little bit of that where you like introduce some new terms and like new
of
ideas and I'm like,
course.
I have no clue what this guy's talking about right now. But then once I
Right.
got it, it's like after that it just snapped into place. So like once you get it, then you just take the ball and run with it.
Yeah. Like, of course, you were in the very early stages where I probably haven't developed the vocabulary all the way yet to explain it in a very easy way. Because as easy as it is, it also opens up for so many doors, as you probably noticed. It's not like, okay, now we have these three sounds we can make. No, now I open up for every sound production that you will actually be able to do instead. Which I think, of course, can be overwhelming in every aspect.
Yeah, it's like you
Um,
get all the answers, but you get them all at once, kind of, and I'm like,
yes,
ah.
yes, exactly, exactly. It is quite different to feel it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look a little bit into the chat and see what everyone is saying. Hey, David Heckler is here as well, all the way from the UK. Amazing. And Flycam is saying, hi, Lachlan and Soren. Lachlan, how long have you been at the MKVS as a student? How long did it take you to get the license? You can answer that if you want to.
Okay. That's a good question. I don't even remember when I started.
No, it's so long ago now. Like,
I know.
yeah, I guess that it took you around half a year, as we say in general, like half a year to a year. But you came back to get a few more lessons
Mhm.
because of some stuff you really wanted to do. Had some opportunities suddenly where you're like, okay, I'm going to record an album soon as well, and we could
Mhm.
be good to just make sure everything is as it should be, and everything was basically good. You came as well because you were just sick for quite some time, so you wanted to be sure that
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
was
So I come
great.
back to you when I got like big things coming up, when I got a
Yeah,
sickness, a big audition, big recording. But yeah,
exactly.
the base part of it, yeah, 6 months sounds correct.
Yeah, exactly. Um, what was the biggest wow factor that you experienced with this method? Like, okay, now I can do this a lot easier, or something that you were not able to do before, or something like that. Any wow
I think
factors?
I don't know if it's one specific thing, but the
Yeah.
wow factor is just kind of like I take the same principles and apply them to any kind of singing or screaming,
Mhm.
and they all work. So
Oh,
it's like I can do this for belting, I can do this for like singing, falsetto, for
yeah,
screaming, for growls, for rock singing, raspy voice. Like it all applies, like no matter what kind of singing you're doing, you take the same
yeah.
principles, move it over to that kind of singing, and it works. And I feel like that's a whoa, because it's really nice to not be able to not have to be like, okay, now I got to relearn how to sing just to do this
Yes,
one method. It's like, nah,
exactly.
across the board, I know how to do stuff.
Oh, amazing. One of the other students that I tested it out on in the same period as you, I never taught him fry scream, but he suddenly texted me back, oh, I just learned fry scream. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, from point zero to actually full out blown voice and everything, not in the bad way, let's put it like that, but a lot of really, really loud fry screams. And now he's recording with it, and he just loves that sound,
Mhm.
with a little ventricular folds on top. um, yeah, exactly. That's why I try to explain it as a one way method, or a master key in this case, right?
Mhm.
um, because when you understand one part, then everything is kind of there. It's at least I have not been able to find something that wasn't there yet. And if it ever comes, I will update it, of course, and make sure that part is included as well. If there's another side to the coin or something.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So, do you think that the method explains everything or anything that you could ever think about of doing with your voice? Or is there something where you're like, I will say that right now I am working on the paper number 2 to update more on the all the effects. So there will be a much bigger list for how these different effects are done, especially the super extreme ones that some of the ones that Lachlan likes to use as well. But is there something you think that where you tried, here it lacked, if anything, if it was?
I mean, as long as it uses like your voice, I feel like I can do it. I don't really feel like there's
Amazing.
anything that it wouldn't apply to that I can think of or that I've encountered. I mean,
Yeah,
from singing to belting to whispers to even like
yeah,
throat singing and screaming. I haven't
amazing.
encountered anything that I'm like, I don't know how to do this.
Oh, so happy to hear that. That means a lot because I did put in a lot of work to make it a one size method. So amazing to hear that from a user as well. Um, so, is there something that we did not talk about that you would like to share, or was there something that, yeah, is there something else that you'd like to share about the method that you think everyone should know?
Um, I think one of the important things, like I said, like with the
Mhm.
learning curve, like as soon as you get it, you just pretty much take off with it. And I feel like that's so nice because before it's just like exercise after exercise and seeing a little bit of improvement. This one, as soon as like you get the method, you just take off running. It's not like little increments. I mean, it's gradual, but it's like, phew.
Mm. Yeah,
And I feel like that's been super nice because I mean, when I started the band that I'm currently in, I couldn't really scream at all, but I was
yeah.
writing songs with screams and I'm like, I gotta learn how to scream. And so like as soon as like I went to you and like learned how it was and like learned this method specifically, my screams
Yeah.
just went from like like 5 to 1,000. So
Yes.
that was nice because right in time to record, I was like getting a lot better.
Yeah, it was really fun that I didn't even know that you went to the recording stage yet. I knew that it was coming, but you didn't tell me, and I think it was 14 days before that you actually learned actually growls, and I was like, what? And then I heard it. This is so cool. That is 14 days after. I will never forget it. It was approximately that time, and I was just blown away. Like, okay, that's 14 days. That's really crazy. It's not something you see very commonly. Like, I have maybe seen that once in my life that someone probably were kind of there before and then they were able to improve it so much, but not from, as you say, yeah, almost point zero to, oh, now it's here. it was
After
it was
like years of watching YouTube videos on how to scream, how do I scream, and like
Yeah.
years of trying their stupid methods and getting nowhere, it was such a nice relief to finally be like, I get it and I can do it now.
Yeah. Did you rewatch any of the YouTube videos then and go like, okay. Or
Yeah, I still look. I'll just like if I see a new one, I'll click on it and be like, no, that's wrong.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sometimes the YouTube videos can be very misguiding in
Mm.
every aspect. um, if you did not know already, Lachlan and her band has a new album out, which is actually their first album. What is the title of the album, Lachlan?
Entropy.
Oh, where can we get it? So if someone is interested in this amazing
Everywhere.
everywhere,
I mean, you
whoa,
can stream it on any site, and then like
okay,
also you can buy a like actual CD.
yeah. Where can we buy
This
the
beautiful thing.
actual?
You can buy it on Bandcamp.
Oh,
So you just
okay.
look up Seeking Tragedy on Bandcamp. It's there and ready for you.
Nice. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Where did you record it? Who mixed and mastered this massive album, to put it gently?
So we recorded at Archive Studio in Salt Lake City, Utah. with Wes. He's a great guy. The recording process was awesome. It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Like the first time being in like an official studio, I felt like a real
Nice.
musician. So that was fun.
Amazing.
Mixed and mastered by Zach Oren, who also does like Entheos and All Shall Perish and like a handful
Oh,
of other bands, Fallujah and Karate High School, if anyone knows them. They were a favorite
Huh.
growing up. So yeah,
wow. Okay.
we found them just by looking up, like, we kind of all looked up our favorite bands and we're like, who mixed their stuff? And so, yeah,
Uh-huh.
we found him that way.
Amazing. That's so nice to hear. So you actually went to a place where one of your favorite bands have been recording, and
Yeah.
wow. So maybe you used the same microphone, huh? As they did, who knows? But did the MKVS help you keep your voice intact through the recordings? And were there any times where you're like, okay, this growl or this scream didn't go as I hoped? I've been there before when I recorded something like, oh, that scream didn't go as planned. But do you then go back to the method and try to fix it that way, or how do you use the MKVS method in those type of situations?
So with our recording, I mean, we're a small band, so we didn't have like a huge budget. So we tried to
Oh,
record. We did record the entire album in like 4 days. So it was like a real
wow.
crunch. So the thing was, like you said, sometimes you record a take and you're like, oh, I want to do a better take. But with this, we didn't really have a lot of time to do like take after take. It was just like, let's do a couple takes and hope we get a good one. So like the
Ah,
pressure
okay.
was on. And
Yeah.
like first album, first time in a big studio, I was definitely extremely nervous. So I think we're having the method, like the MKVS method in place, was not so much during the studio because my head was like buzzing the whole time,
Yeah.
but like beforehand, just knowing that I'm able to do this stuff and not having to think about it so much once I got in the studio. I'm not having to think,
Yeah.
okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. It's like I know how to do this stuff. So I can go in and just like focus on my performance and not have to stress on like, oh, I forgot how to sing. So yeah, it was just helpful to just go in there knowing that I know what I'm doing.
Of course, of course. Like being prepared is
Mm.
is probably one of the most important things when you go into the studio and do these things. I have never actually recorded at a studio. I've always had the like, not always, but I've had people in my band, or I knew how to record good enough, I guess, beforehand. But I would love to at some point go to a really good studio and try to record in those facilities. But I know
Yeah,
there's
it's a
a
lot
big
of fun, but it's a lot of pressure because you're like, ah,
yes.
I'm supposed to be a real musician now. I'm in this real nice studio with all this nice equipment, and I'm just scared.
I think everyone is a little bit scared because even the big bands, you know, they have to live up to something. They already have a crowd. So imagine that pressure of, let's say that they had an album that just sold 50,000 copies or something like that, you know, and then you have to go back in there and make that even better, that number, right? So
Mhm.
there's always a pressure, and I think that it's something we will never get away from as musicians, sadly enough. You can be more calm in those situations, but there will always be something in the back of your mind, I think, with those type of thoughts at least. But I guess also there are people that just go in there like, yeah, let's do another take, like don't care so much in some to some aspect. So I really hope that you all give Lachlan's band Seeking Tragedy a listen. It's truly a professional level album that should get much more attention as much at least as any other big band. It both the cleans you did, Lachlan, blew me away, as well as the nasty metal sounds you made. It's really a good album, and I have not just listened to it once, so it's really, really a good. Maybe some of the songs would be good to listen to a few times, but at least if you like metal music, I think that it's really an amazing album you guys put together. So really good job on that, Lachlan.
Thanks.
Why would you recommend the Master Key vocal system to other singers who want to become a professional at their craft?
Well, I mean, it teaches you everything you need to know. I feel like that's one of the
Wow.
best selling points. If you want to be able to like sing and like sing well and be able to do multiple things in singing, I mean, this would be it for you. And also, I feel like this happens so often in metal and it drives me nuts, but people just kind of like, they don't take any lessons or anything. And then down the road, you hear that they can't scream or something anymore because they hurt their voice. And I hate that. There's nothing worse than like a singer you like that can't sing anymore because they hurt their voice doing it wrong. And so if you like actually want to make a career and have a long career, I would recommend this because it'll teach you how to do it properly so your voice stays healthy.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lachlan. That's exactly what you say. That's a decent selling point, I'll say. Not longer ago than a few days back, I had a student that actually met the singer of AFI, and he they were quite big back in the 2000s, I would say, something like that. They're probably quite big still, but he met the singer and he was like, "How do you do that on this album, a very early album?" And the AFI singer actually said, "Dude, don't do that. It's so bad." He just said, find a coach and trust the person because they know what they're saying instead of us destroying our voice. So that even came from the professional's mouth, that it is super important. And I guess also sometimes fame comes faster than they think, so they're like, yeah, taking it not so serious, and then now we have like a year's tour in front of us, and then I'm not sure I'm ready for this. So I think that could sometimes be a big thing, that they're just not ready for it. Like, but how do you get ready anyways, to blow up as a band at some point? But that's exactly it. You should be ready before that happens, and seek professional help before, doing longer tours, or even just a week tour can blow your voice so heavily that you never tried anything like it. So Lachlan, you might want to get ready to sing for all of us. Then I'll just quickly tell everyone a few things before you blow away the mic and all of our minds with your amazing voice. So yeah, you can just slowly get ready, and we'll get into it.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. So if you did not join us at the beginning of this webinar / live stream, then I will tell you again that at the end of this live stream, I will share a 10% discount code for students, not teachers, which will be active for a full month. So you have time to think about if you want to be just like Lachlan and become a professional voice user and be able to do exactly what you wanted to do with your voice. And if you're a teacher and want to join us, then remember we still have a few spots available at the huge discount of not 10% again, that's not so huge as this one, so 50% off the original price as an MKVS teacher. So I hope you're all ready to hear Lachlan sing, because I am. Let's hear in the chat. Are you all ready to hear this? Come on. Everyone give Lachlan a big hand of applause. So Lachlan, can you tell us which songs will you be singing for us of your amazing band?
So I will be singing, because this was very much requested, I will be singing A Synonym for Mind, and then I will also be singing Burning Souls.
Ooh, amazing. Cannot wait to hear it, Lachlan. So when you're ready, then hit it.
Alrighty. Star broken things. Syndications of our night. The famous calls walls every night. Cursing my conscience and all the fear I hold within. I hold it when my world, all my life, living behind, trapped behind me. A conflict within, we are the unwilling participants, the scientists and the experiments. We are vital and yet irrelevant. Syndications of our night. We invent what's painted by sight. Each night reveals a void blanketed by stars. Wish I could break through it. Wish I could see truth with eyes. Cursing my conscience and all the fear I hold within. I won't let it win my world, my world, all my life, living behind, trapped behind these walls.
Wow. That's the only thing I want to say. Like everyone, please give Lachlan a crazy applause for this one. Wow, Lachlan, that's
Thank you.
that's such a beautiful song, and it is one of my favorites, even though it's not the most heavy song. As some of you know, I like metal music a lot and rock and so on, but I also love jazz, like really, really love jazz singers. And as me and Lachlan always talked about, because we're both into jazz singers a lot sometimes, or avant-garde singers, if you may. And you just fit in that group so well, and I love listening to your voice all the time. So hit it with one more and see
Alrighty.
what people think. This is
All
probably
right.
a little bit heavier, I
A
think,
little
right?
heavier, yeah.
Yeah. So now you're gonna hear the vocal effects.
Weightless, I fall, screaming. I skin so thin, I cannot hide. Ripped by darkness, I must abide. Can't cross the weight of who's inside. Now there is no time. Thought that I'd be safe, thought I saw a way, thought to be a chain, but I never thought that the winds of day, either was a bay. I hear the sound of futures melting. No more. Yes! Waited too long to make things right. If we suffer together, no one stands alone. We suffer forever, won't make this hell our home. We're burning souls, lighting up the night. Burning souls, we all ignite. The only night. Here is masked with the stench of decay, degrading of life is now child's play. Evidence of suffering is all that remains. A single moment is emptied out, and dreams exit their veins. Unassuming, how unamusing, when a pattern can't be traced. Disregarding, how disheartening, now it's cement, that's her face. Take a smaller grave, throw away my name, for your mistake that you never cared that time would be erased, it could be replaced. You're in the sound when heart stops beating. Save. Bullets broke the sky. In their place, we all ignite. Piercing boards like flint to a knife. How easy it is destroying lives. If we suffer together, no one stands alone. If we suffer forever, we'll make this hell our home. We're burning souls, lighting up the night. Burning souls, we all ignite. If we're fighting for better, can our paths withstand the blows? If we're fighting forever, this hell becomes a whole. We're burning souls, lighting up the night. Burning souls, we all ignite.
Like. That was so good, Lachlan. Wow. Like. Oh, there was one of those screams in there. Oh, that was a bright one. Oh, I didn't expect that. That was so good. Sometimes it can be hard to hear when you layer stuff for an album that, okay, what will she choose to do now? And like, because there's which layer is the one she will actually be using. So that was so good. I really hope you all give Lachlan an amazing applause for this. Like, remember that she did not put on 50 plugins in a studio setting to make this happen. This is the honest sound before we hit 5 compressors as a minimum, as if anyone knows anything about mixing and mastering out there. So thank you so much, Lachlan. That was an amazing performance, and
Thank you.
I'm so proud that you trust me with your voice, and that's what came out. That's blowing my mind. Oh wow. Okay. So if you want, Lachlan, you can sit down or whatever.
All
But
right.
we'll look into some questions in the chat. So I'll go a little bit up, make sure I don't miss anything. So, yes, Joshua. I hope it was very interesting, at least. And another one, and I hope you. Yes, I asked Lachlan to. So Joshua is asking if we were both in the Halloween video. Which one I think he means is the one from RMS Vocal Institute. Lachlan started there, so I asked if she wanted to, because I know that she's as crazy about Halloween as I am. So I knew she would love to. We actually talked about doing a cover together for a while, and then suddenly I was like, hey, how about this Halloween song? That would be so fun to do with as many students as possible, that had the option to record themselves as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I got to act crazy in it, do my hair all crazy,
Yes,
put blood on myself. Yeah, I had fun with that.
exactly. As you can tell with the creepy sounds, Lachlan likes to make that. Yes, Halloween is a thing. Awesome. And Flycam, would you say that apart from your screams, MKVS improved your clean singing at the same level as well?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah? Okay.
For sure, yeah. Because, I mean, especially with, like, high belts, that's something that I struggled with the most, I feel, before I learned this. Because, I mean, that's just, I like singing along to, like, Evanescence and stuff, and she belts high.
Yes.
And so I always struggled with that and, like, keeping up with her in the car singing. And now it's become a lot easier, like, implementing these same ideas.
Wow, that's super cool to hear. We have someone saying the album is amazing. Highly recommend you download it. Or buy it, right? Please buy it. Nowadays, no one buys music anymore. Oh. And yeah, Flycam says, okay, seriously, whoa. And yes, everyone is whoa about what you just did, Lachlan. That is, yeah. If they weren't, I would be very, very surprised. That was a really good performance you did there.
Thank you.
Even well bloody done. Amazing singing, Lachlan. Wow, that is some good ones. Yeah, and someone also said they loved the Halloween video. So amazing. So anything you'd like to share here before we slowly end the webinar off? Is there something you'd like to share about the MKVS at the end? I know we went through quite a few things, but if there's something you would like to share, then go for it.
I mean, I'd say go for it. Like, if you're thinking about trying to find a singing program or a singing teacher, I mean, really, I do highly recommend Soren and MKVS. I don't just say that because he's sitting there, but I truly believe in it, and it really helped me. Like, I'm so glad that I found it, because I would never have reached this level as quickly as I have.
Oh, thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. I don't want to sit here and cry on a webinar, but that truly means a lot to me, Lachlan. So yeah, if you out there would like to join and begin your journey to get where Lachlan is now, then I'll tell you again, this 10% discount code is coming up. So yeah, it will be active for a whole month, so you can think a little bit about if you want to become a professional voice user as well. So make sure you screenshot it or take a picture with your phone, or write it down on a piece of paper if you have anything near you. So otherwise, run. If you watch those videos on on the internet. So the code that you need to apply to get 10% off your student license is displayed on the screen now. So time to write it down. So in our next webinar, for the next one, I will explain as much as possible about the student and teacher licenses. Oh, wow. The student and teachers licenses. So you understand a little bit more about what is going on with that, what it means and so on. And I'll of course answer any questions you might have about becoming a teacher or a student license holder. And of course, this will be announced as soon as possible. So you'll be able to make a little X in the calendar for that. And everyone, can you please say thank you to Lachlan for joining us at this webinar? I hope everyone feels the same. Really, really happy that you wanted to sing for us live and show what this method really does for a singer. And amazingly done, Lachlan. I'm super grateful that you wanted to do this with us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. I truly hope that you liked this webinar, and if you did, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any future content like today. We might have more students coming up later, who knows? You can also join us on our website where we have a subscription with your email address, so you can follow what is going on and you will get only the notifications that's important, for example, about webinars or other exciting news. So thank you all for tuning in. I wish you all the best, and I hope you'll have a fun Halloween together with friends or family, because we're not far from that now, right? And if you have any questions or would like to have any consultation with me, please just email us or me at contact@themkvs.com, or my personal one, soren.sedit@themkvs.com. So I cannot wait to see you at our next webinar, and have an amazing time until next time.